So, with the ending of Star Trek Discovery Season 2, I think it leaves a lot of questions open, like where is Discovery actually going to, and where is the Star Trek franchise as a whole going to? Well, lucky for us, Alex Kurtzman, who's the showrunner for all things Star Trek currently, sat down with a Hollywood Reporter and spoke to them. So I'm going to read through some of the answers today. Hello everyone, my name is Captain Jack and welcome back to Trek Central. Today we're analysing some answers from Alex Kurtzman regarding Star Trek and the future of the franchise. So, let's dig in and see what we can find. Now the first major question happily answers something that was on my mind. Where exactly is the USS Discovery ending up in Season 3? Well, Alex Kurtzman has confirmed it for us that they are jumping 950 years into the future for Season 3. Now I know they did say it in the episode, but I was personally thinking, are they actually going to take that gamble to go 950 years into the future? Because it's a pretty big one, but no, apparently they are. Originally I thought they might have gone to, Picard's timeline and played around with Star Trek there, but nope, they're taking Discovery all the way to the 30th century and beyond. I think it's the 32nd century, which is quite crazy. 950 years into the future. That's quite a lot. But wow, I'm looking forward to where Discovery's going in Season 3, and we'll chat more about that in a separate video, as I'm sure, like me, you guys have many speculations about what's going to happen as well. Now, they asked Kurtzman what the thinking behind that decision was, and he kind of sums it up by basically going he liked the idea of going full circle. In the premiere, you saw where the red signals began, and in the ending of the season final, you saw how they all brought together. And that's kind of one of the things they liked. It says the final was a sum of total months of work between writing and, concept designing it production-wise. It's the biggest thing they've ever actually done. He felt pretty strongly about, the Red Angel and revealing that it ultimately was Burnham who sent them. And it does make sense, because a lot of fan theories were the fact Burnham was the Red Angel, so now it's like, yeah, we saw that one from a mile away. The third question comes in that the Discovery timeline is now completely separate from that of the original series. Interviewer asks, how does it feel to be approaching a brand new time period with the show? Which is a brilliant question, because this is a new time zone for Star Trek. We've not explored this far into the Trek universe so far. We've had things like Daniels and that Voyager episode where they was in the 31st century. We had Calypso, but where Discovery is now, this is quite far into the future, and it's going to be interesting to see how they do link it with Calypso in a way. I bet you that the sphere data is going to evolve into what we know as Zora. I'll bet money on that. Anyway, this question here. So Alex Kurtzman responds to this by saying he loves playing with canon, him and the writing and the team behind him. It's a delight and a privilege. It's fun to explore nooks and crannies of the universe that haven't been fully explored yet, i.e. jumping 950 years into the future. Now they felt strongly about wanting to give themselves a new energy for Season 3 without a whole set of problems, of which I can understand. Doing prequels like Discovery was, you always are going to hit heads with, what is original canon, but you need to respect that along the way. Of which they didn't really do that much in Season 1 to respect the original canon, but you can see they tried their best in Season 2, and it was a refreshing experience. So now with Season 3 being 950 years in the future, they have an entirely whole new ballpark to play in, which is going to be awesome. So Alex Kurtzman explains that it's the same process that went into jumping 950 years in the future. They're now completely free of canon and a whole new universe to explore. Like I said, we've not touched on the 30th century plus very much in Star Trek overall. We know Daniels and a few other time-traveling people are from that era, but other than that, nothing's actually been there. Now, the interviewer asks a fantastic question here. He says, will there be any more crossovers with characters from other Trek series? This is referring to obviously Pike and Spock and number 1. Now, Kurtzman does respond to this by going, there will be canonical references to everything that's happened in the various shows. They're not erasing that, so they're respecting canon again, but we're so far past the point that all that happened is a very distant memory. Which is correct there, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Nemesis, etc. was so long ago in comparison to the 32nd century that it is all a distant memory now. But I expect to hear references of, the great battles and stuff like that, so I look forward to that. But he says they're very excited to see how put the new elements of Star Trek in an entirely new universe. I'm excited for this as well. Now here's a bit of information about the ending. The interviewer asks, after Discovery goes through the wormhole, the action surprisingly stays in the present timeline with the Enterprise. What was your thinking behind the final act? This is referring to the fact, in the ending scene of Discovery Season 2, we get to see the Enterprise, Spock, number 1, go out onto their next mission with Anson Mount's Captain Pike at the helm. Which, a lot of people, including me, were thinking, spin-off series maybe? But no. So this is what Kurtzman says. He started the season with the sister talking to the brother, i.e. Burnham to Spock, and he ended it with the brother talking to the sister. At the very end, we got Spock, doing that monologue talking about Burnham and the fact she's gone, which is kind of like, we have come one full circle in the whole season. And it is nice to see that story arc wrap up. So as you mentioned, Spock now has to deal with the aftermath of the emotional repercussions. And I think this maybe is alluding to how his character is shaped and built in the original series and so on, and I think that could be quite cool. Now, he did say that when Burnham is saying goodbye to Spock, she is referencing, I want you to find a person who is at least like you, and she's obviously talking about Kirk. Spock takes that advice and she'll never know it. So essentially Burnham built the friendship between Kirk and Spock, which I'm not sure entirely how to feel on that one, but oh well. The next question. You not only brought in Spock this season, but also Anson Mount, who garnered a lot of critical praise and even a fan petition, make sure you sign it, to get a Pike spin-off. Is there a chance of that happening? Now, this is a great question. I myself would like to see the adventures of Captain Pike, Spock, number 1, on board this brand new Enterprise, but is it going to happen? I'm not sure. Well, lucky for us, Alex Kurtzman actually responded to this. He said, the fans have been heard, which is great. Anything is possible in the world of Trek. I would like to bring back the crew more than ever. It was a huge risk for us. One of the most gratifying things is to see how deeply the fans have embraced Pike, Spock, number 1, and the Enterprise. The idea of getting to tell more stories of them would be a delight for all of us. So that possibly suggests they are up to something, and it's a good thing that CBS, aka Kurtzman and that, have acknowledged that the fans have been heard. It's something a lot of people feel strongly about, that CBS and such aren't listening to the fans. Well, if they've heard them because of a petition, then it shows they are paying attention, which is good news. So maybe a Pike spin-off. Now, Kurtzman does confirm that Control, or Section 31's Control, is officially neutralized, so we're not going to see that, and there's going to be bigger problems on the other side of that wormhole. They also reference the fact, Discovery's gone through quite a few captains, but most recently, Commander Saru is currently the acting captain, and how will the power shift for the next season? Kurtzman doesn't really give a very good answer here, basically saying that Saru and Burnham are both qualified in various different ways. Personally, I'd like to see Saru, but, I would not, I'm not a fan of Burnham being the captain. There are some great questions inside this interview. If you do want to go and read it all, I heavily suggest you go and do it. Now, the next important thing for us is when Kurtzman is asked about how the Picard show is doing, which is quite cool. So here is his answer. The interviewer goes, while Discovery is broken for Season 3, there are many other Trek series in the pipeline, including the upcoming Picard show starring Patrick Stewart. What is the state of this series as well as the franchise as a whole? Great question. Here's the answer. Now, Kurtzman says the intention is to have something Star Trek on TV all the time, or on air all the time. We know this from ages ago. Basically, it takes about a minimum of a year to develop, make, produce, and post a new show, such as Picard and Discovery. He says we want to make sure we're never compromising our loyalty to both aesthetic and storytelling, yada yada yada. He doesn't want to rush any development or anything like that. Basically what we're saying about that, a lot of work has to go into a product they're making, and they have to be sure of that product. Which is great news, because it makes you think they're not trying to rush stuff out the door for the sake of selling it, which I think a lot of us needed to hear in a way. He makes reference by saying the Picard show is actually going really well, and the fact they are starting shooting soon for it. Which makes sense, because most of the actors are currently, and actresses, are currently gathering around the shooting location in the area, so it does make sense that they're probably kicking off this coming week, I'd imagine. It says it's going to be really different from Discovery in tone, pace, and story. He's excited of how our cast came together. Hanil Culpepper, who's the director, is absolutely crushing it right now, apparently, and it's excited because it's different. He says, I think people who like the next generation will recognize that it's made by people who love it equally, and it's going to be interesting to see how fans respond to this series. And I couldn't agree with him more there, to be honest. I think the cast they've got available at the minute is very diverse, so I'm going to be interested to see how they come together to build some new and interesting characters for the series, and also how people receive this series as well. We've got confirmation there that this is going to be different from Discovery in tone, pace, and story, so hopefully that's going to impress some people. I'm personally excited for the Picard series, and I am grateful to hear that it's on track. Now we can finally say goodbye to all those rumours that apparently it was in trouble, because it never really was. Yeah, not entirely sure where those rumours came from. But anyway, that's it for me on Trek Central today. I hope you enjoyed this little news information I gave you here. If you do want to read the entire article for yourself, I will link it down below in the description. But for now, I'm glad to know the Star Trek franchise is heading to new places. We've got 950 years in the future with Discovery, we've got the Section 31 series, which is still very under wraps, and we have the Picard series. And maybe a potential Pike series. I'm not sure. Tons of stuff in the pipeline, apparently. Anyway, I've been Captain Jack on Trek Central. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.